Hi. Recently, there's been a social media movement that is urging people to stand up for something that they probably believe in. And most of them were initiated from the art scene from the Philippines. Now, they're saying that there is no political motivation. True or not, we'll never know. But this episode is not about that campaign. Rather, this is about authenticity and how do we respond to social media call to action. I am Olivia Escartin and welcome to my YouTube channel Evergreen Olivia TV. Did you stand up or did you not? There is no right or wrong answer here. In fact, we are all entitled to our own opinion and we should respect everyone's opinion, especially on social media, where everything that you post is under scrutiny. And yes, anything that you post there also technically is really not deleted, or should we say softly deleted, or probably other strangers would have taken screenshot and it's quite too late to take them back. Now, this is wherein we come in about authenticity, and there are two sides in this episode about authenticity. And then the reason that I thought of sharing this is because there's this instant reaction whenever we see messages like this. It kind of like causes triggers in our emotions, and that's their purpose. Their purpose is to elicit that emotion from us, and so that we will have that reaction and do something, making comments, posts, and of course it is measured, right? So let's talk about authenticity. First is, whenever you see social media posts or even in any publications that you see, probably newspapers and televisions, my go-to reaction, or perhaps my thought process, is where is this source coming from? In any publication, be it social media, radio, news, or print newspaper back in the days, it is very important to know the purpose of the message, or should we say the source of the content, who made it, why they made it, and perhaps who owns even the publication. Yes, up until to that point. Now, you might say probably it's overthinking. It may be unhealthy to examine every post, and that's why there's also a way how to consume news, right? So this part wherein I'd like to share with you that it is quite helpful to know where is this coming from, or at least if there are campaigns like this asking you to make an action. It is very crucial if you will participate, if you really know what they're standing for, and if you're sure of their why and who they are, what's the purpose, not just what they're saying online, but we should have to examine, or at least examine for a while, if this is something that we truly believe in. Are they also authentic? They're looking for something that's authentic in you, but at the end of the day is, are these posts, are these messages also authentic? When campaigns calling for actions like this, I prefer to check first before joining the bandwagon. I prefer to check first the source, where it's coming from, especially the hashtags, who started the campaign, because a lot of people tend to just do the hashtag because it's trending and everything. Maybe to you it's not important, but perhaps for this types of campaign, it is important to make sure that you are representing exactly what you believe in, and you are within that community. I support the fighting for our ideologies. I support that, we have to fight for our rightful cause. Unselfish intentions, so to speak. After all, this is the reason that why we have a democratic country, because we're able to fight for our rights. Even if, as ordinary people, we can become heroes, just like what happened to the Olympics, right? We've won gold medals, our athletes are there, and overseas workers are also considered heroes, right? So it's the fight defines also our character, and it devoids of any personal gain. So, and it's quite rare now, at the end of the day, the question is, are they doing this as a real advocacy, or are they doing this because they're paid to do it, right? Now, I've shared a little bit of why does it matter to know where the sources are coming from before you join the bandwagon. I've got a lot of friends too who actually were quite very interested about the movement because it's artful, it's nice, colorful, and it looks fun. Yes, but we always have to check if the values and the campaign that they're talking about is something that we truly also believe in, and if we're on the same page. It is important to check first the source of any social media posts, campaigns, even promos. There are people who fall victim to phishing sites and some scammy sites because they don't tend to check. They just see that, okay, it looks viral, it looks cool, it looks legit, that's it, no more questions. In these times that there are billions of websites, billions of users nowadays, every user is almost like a currency to some platforms. But what's important right now is that when there are campaigns like this, or any publication or any news that you read, make sure that you know where it's coming from, and at least make sure that that is also a legit entity that represents that ideology or that business. So what is authenticity? Authenticity is about being genuine, not fake. Okay, something that it's about the true you, yeah. And just like when people buy Louis Vuitton, Gucci, things like that, they want to make sure it's genuine, right? Authentic. Same as us as persons, as people, it is very important to be authentic, knowing who we are, what we want, what we like, and what we claim to be. Also, a very, very good indicator of knowing the authenticity as an author of someone who would, for anyone who would publish content and things like that, is it voluntary, or were they asked to do it, or is it a paid work rather, right? As I've mentioned, that this episode is about authenticity. Authentic, just like how people would want to buy branded bags and sneakers and things like that. They want something that's authentic, genuine. Just like when we're paying using our currency, we want to make sure that it's real, right? So in these times, we're dealing with two sides of authenticity. One is as the audience, and the other one is the one producing content. So, for example, for campaigns, as we mentioned, is it authentic? Were they asked to do the work? Is it a paid work, or is it something just voluntary, right? So that one brings authenticity also onto the table. As a person, as an audience, what is very important to know about Authenticity is knowing about yourself. So, for example, one is, do you already know what you want right now at the present moment? What do you want? What do you have in your heart? What is your heart's desire, right? You know who you are. You've been existing for quite a number of years now, and you already have your own definition, or at least in yourself you already know what you're capable of. So that part is the authentic self, the one that you know, not the one that we just just show people. Some people are showing other sides, especially social media era, instant gratification, right? With social media, people tend to put the happier things, the good looking things. It's all right, but some people go to the extent of faking it, because there's this belief that fake it till you make it. But that has that depends. All right. It's a good practice. It's a good mind practice. However, it's okay as long as you don't break any law, or faking some things to the point that you just have to do falsifications and things like that. So going back about authenticity, it's just making sure that we know who we are, we know what we want, and then we just have to gather our thoughts and connect it to the content, to the one who published. Like for example, in this case, the campaign. So for those who stood up, like for example, some didn't stand up, some did. To those others, they don't mind if who made the campaign really like his that background. But to some people, they just thought, hey, you know what, I'm fed up, I'm gonna do something, I feel like I want to do this. It's up to you, right? As long as you've done your due diligence, that's fine. What I want to share here is that we don't want blind leading the blind. We don't want to be just like blind sheep, that just because some people or many people have been doing this, we end up doing it also. Because there are a lot of things in this world that happened, that because other people just tend to follow other people without really doing some inner workings, they end up being on the wrong side of the road. How do we stay authentic? First is resiliency. Being resilient. Not being stubborn, not about being hard-headed. It's about being resilient. A little bit of resistance to outside influence, that without even processing it. A bit more resilient from being easily manipulated, so to speak, right? Second is being honest with yourself. Yes. Oftentimes it's so easy to look at other people. But during our quiet times, during our one-on-one time with ourselves, right? It's only us who know ourselves. So being honest with ourselves would help us find the true us. And part of that is also acceptance. Okay? And also it's very important to love yourself. Not about being obsessed or super in love with yourself to the point of being like almost narcissistic in traits, right? But it's about loving yourself, respecting yourself. Everybody deserves respect, right? So loving yourself is very important, and these key three elements helps us to stay authentic and find the true us. Doesn't mean that we are resistant to change or improvement. It's just knowing our own personal baselines, knowing what we really like, desire, and things that the things that drive us, right? So being honest with ourselves, being resilient, loving ourselves helps us to stay authentic. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to subscribe. So stay authentic, stay you, and that would help also to bring yourselves in better relationships. Yes. But we're not talking about relationships in this episode. We're just talking about authenticity from being an audience, and also looking into the authenticity of the sources that we read from, publications, online, offline, and whatever line. Thank you very much for staying with me up until to the end of this episode. I hope that you've Thank you so much for staying with me at the end of this episode. If you've been tuned in here, I believe that perhaps you've been curious about authenticity also. So I hope that this been helpful, and don't forget to subscribe, follow with that button. I think I've already repeated that a lot of times. Thank you for being with me. Ever Gonna Leave It TV. See you.